Hey, everybody, and welcome to Generally Speaking, the podcast that bridges the worlds of pop culture and personal development. I am your host, Jennifer Snook, and I am so happy to be here with you today. I hope everything has been going well in your world. Here is what's been going on in mine. Let's catch up. So, honestly, I thought I was going to be able to do this podcast without my glasses, but my eyes are just getting so bad because of my autoimmune condition that dries out all of my eye sockets and turns the juicy fluids that my eyes are supposed to be bouncing and resting in. It literally burns them it, and turns them into these like tiny granules of sand. And so that sand then falls into the soft tissue around my eyes and creates all of this intracranial pressure and all of this orbital pressure. And anyway, it's I don't want to complain about all my shit, but that's not why I'm talking about this. I'm just talking about this because it is making me wear glasses just constantly. It's not just a reading thing now. Now it's just like getting through life, but it's basically just because my eyes are in this constant sand bath. And I'll tell you, it is frustrating. So, but truthfully, it is frustrating. But it is just one of those things that I have to contend with. I mean, who am I to think that I'm never supposed to be without a health issue, and even one that debilitates me and truthfully impacts my life a lot on a daily basis. But you know, there's it's a small price to pay for being alive and getting to enjoy this incredible life that I get to live. I mean, truthfully, it really is a burden that I feel all the time, and it feels like getting through the day with it is kind of like I said to my mom the other day, it feels like my body has like a leak, and you know what I mean? Like I can just I just don't have it. I feel like I just am constantly just leaking, and the leak has gone from a slow leak to kind of like a steady it went from a little whisper to, something a lot heavier. So anyway, but the point is that people live with slow leaks. That's kind of part of life, but you have to lean into all of the beautiful, wonderful things, or else you'll get just stuck in that leak mentality. Or like, I'm so miserable, or this is so awful, or this is so, such a negative impact on my life. And while that may be, I mean, on balance, life is so incredible that if I have to deal with this, then I have to deal with this, right? And I mean, and I'm here for it. So it's a deal now, and I don't know. I mean, who knows? I could be blind in 6 months from now, but even oh, I don't really want to think about that. But even if I were to be blind, you know what I mean? There's even that wouldn't take me down. I mean, because we keep going. We keep appreciating life. We keep rooting ourselves in love and being grounded in gratitude. And that's the stuff that makes life worth living. And that is a testament to how your attitude and your perspective truly is everything. Like people you hear that and you think, "Oh, that sounds good." But truthfully, that's no shit, because if you get stuck in what's wrong, then you stop seeing what's right. And seeing what's right is like, looking for the silver linings even in shitty times. Anyway, I'm getting totally off topic now. Sorry, I'm diving into the deep stuff, but anyway, that's that. Here's some good news, you guys. I am on my way home from work last night, and I get a call from my daughter, who actually called me at work a couple times, which is hilarious. I'm at work and my daughter's phone number comes through. So basically I could just tell that she was eager to talk to me, right? So she calls and I'm like, "I'm still at work. I can't talk now, babe." And she goes, "Oh, okay. Call me as soon as you're done." And then I stayed at work for a little while longer. I had some inventory to do. And and she's calling me again. So I finally get a hold of her. I'm driving home and she's keeping me company on the ride, which she often does. And and then we're chatting, just chatting, catching up. And then she says to me, "Anyway, Mom, I gotta go. I have a really early morning. I have to be up early to go to a photo shoot." My daughter lives in Austin and works for a very big jewelry brand that is based in Austin. And she says, "I have to be up early for this photo shoot." And I'm like, "Okay, babe, whatever." And I start to hang up. And then she goes, "You'll never believe where it is." She goes, "Just guess." And I go, "I don't know. Are you going?" She had just been to Dallas. I said, "Are you going back to Dallas?" She goes, "No." I go, "Where?" She goes, "Malibu." And I go, "Malibu?" Malibu, you guys, Malibu is 28, 32, between 28 and 32 minutes away from me, depending on which canyon you take and how much traffic there is. I mean, truthfully, sometimes it does take an hour and a half, but that's LA traffic for you. But yeah, so Malibu, which is where I am all the time. I mean, it's my favorite place. So my little monkey was going from Austin to Malibu, and she has known about this for like 10 days, but she didn't want to tell me. It was going to be a surprise, apparently, for quite a while. It was going to be a surprise. And then she decided that she was going to let me in on the secret. She literally caved, you guys. The day before she came, she caved and told me that she was coming. But I get it. She also knows that there is a lot of value in just me living in that anticipation and excitement about the fact that I'm even going to get to see her, because I had no idea that I was going to get to see her. And I mean, when your kid surprises you and says they're going to see you tomorrow, or yeah, tomorrow, I mean, be still my heart. Don't make me cry. Anyway, also, she's going to be here through Easter. She's going to be here through the weekend. And my ex-husband is coming to town with his wife. So except sadly, my baby who is in Brooklyn will not be here, but we will definitely be Zooming her in. I just could not be more excited. Well, I could. If my Ryan was here, I would definitely be more excited, but still so overjoyed that I get to be with the majority of them. Anyway, have you guys, here's the other thing that's been happening in my life. I have totally, in the last like 10 days, been hooked on The Apple Doesn't Fall Far. Have you guys been watching this with Annette Bening? What an absolute marvelous show. I mean, so good, right? I mean, and just such a testament to the way in life you really know, you never know. I mean, there's so much context and so much detail that if you're not privy to, you're making assumptions that are just based on your own personal experience, it demonstrates that the way each of the kids had their own experience with their dad, and their own experience with their dad colored the perception of how they thought about him. And it's funny, like I look at I you can't help but like look at your own family and your own siblings, and it's, sorry, I'm just looking at my hair. My hair is so heavy, you guys. I just got it cut on my birthday, but it is so heavy. I can I can prop it up and you watch. It'll be down in seconds. I mean, it does not defy gravity, I promise you. But yeah, so I don't want to spoil anything. I'm just going to tell you guys, if you're not watching The Apple Doesn't Fall Far, go watch it now. And I believe it's on Netflix. Maybe Peacock. Could be Peacock. It is Peacock. Peacock, you guys. The Apple Doesn't Fall Far. Check it out. Okay, so that is what's happening in my world. Here is what's happening in the world of reality. Can we talk about the P Diddy of it all? I mean, this is some serious shit, right? I mean, it is a lot. And I just really think that all of his P Diddy-ness, all of his ways, um, they're just a testament to like new money, new power, new influence. I mean, and truthfully, no secure person would flash the way Puffy or P Diddy or Sean John or whatever the fuck he calls himself now. Nobody would flash the way he flashes. So you can't be surprised. This guy still is exactly who he is, because until you do the growth, do the real work, and until you kind of reach that personal enlightenment where you start looking at life differently, then you just you get money in your life, and all that does is magnify all of your own personal dysfunction, right? So money just makes you more of whatever you are. So if you're a fucked up person on the inside, getting a bunch and an unhealed person on the inside, money is just gonna make your problems worse and bring out those dysfunctional dark places that live within you, because if you haven't found the light yet, you are probably still dabbling in the dark, and when you dabble in the dark, you get into some shady shit, and that's just the fucking truth of it. So that's and you have the kind of money that Puppy has. I mean, you see it with Puff. I mean, if anyone that has, any sense about them can see that there are certain people that just say the words, because they think the words sound good, but it doesn't really vibrate within them. It's not part of who they are on a cellular basis. And that's the way I feel about Puffy. I feel like he's just always been stunting, always just been a player, always just been fronting. I mean, that's just he's just always felt like a fake and a phony and just somebody who tries too hard to me. So, yeah, he's not my jive. Um, let's see what else. Teresa. Let's talk about Teresa, you guys. So, listen, here's the deal. The Real Housewives of New Jersey are getting ready to come back on. And Teresa, I feel like something major is about to happen, because if you have seen her, did you see her in LA with Louie? And did you hear her, most importantly, on her Namaste Bitches on her podcast, her Namaste Bitches podcast? You guys, that podcast, here's the problem. Our poor Teresa, I you know, I kind of feel like I've gotten to the point with Teresa where I'm just fully against Teresa, but I'm not, because I'm always here for a redemption story. I mean, truthfully, who's calling me? Oh, my daughter. Um, she's gonna have to wait. Oh, actually, hold on. Should we take her call, you guys? Actually, let's take her call. Hi, honey. Hi, I'm recording the pod right now, and I'm on, and I just picked up the call here. Okay, let's hope that the pod didn't just pick this all up. I love you. Bye. Okay, hold on, you guys. Are we still recording? We're still recording. Um, okay, where were we? Okay, I need you guys to understand something. If you have watched, I'm sorry, not watched, but listened to that Namaste Bitches podcast, you will hear her co-star, Melissa Feaster, tee her up with questions that I kind of think she knows are going to make Teresa look stupid. She knows how Teresa's going to answer, and she lobs these questions up to Teresa, And Teresa just takes the bait every single time. And it is so embarrassing. And the sad thing is Teresa doesn't even know it's happening. I'm pretty sure Melissa's in on the joke. I mean, she's a smart gal. She's so much smarter than Teresa, and I'm pretty sure that she is in on the joke. If she's not, it's a really sad testament to that whole situation over there, but I'm fairly certain that she is. But you guys have to listen to you got to do yourself a favor and just go listen to the last episode of the two of them. And then go listen to the episodes where Melissa was interviewing the girls. Teresa's daughters were being interviewed while she was doing Traders. And the questions that she was asking the girls, I mean, did she know the way they were going to answer? Their answers just made everything look so much worse, so much worse. So on the podcast, on the Namaste Bitches podcast, the co-star Melissa Pfeister brings up the trailer for the new season of Jersey. And she asked Teresa how she feels about it. So, how'd you feel about the new trailer? And Teresa, oh, no, didn't like it. No, didn't like it. I just hope that they, no, she does all of this hemming and hawing about the fact that the trailer very clearly shows her and Louie not in a physical tussle, but in a verbal tussle about finances. And she is very clearly upset, and he is very clearly very red. I mean, I'm talking Louis the Lobster out in full force, you guys. And here's the thing. Melissa asked Teresa how she felt about that whole thing being shown, and Teresa was not happy about it, but she did go on to admit, and this is how you know that there is trouble in paradise, because she admitted the fact that there was stress. So, Teresa is so big on just denying everything. She even says it. I just tell Louie, deny, 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 ignore, ignore, ignore. She would not admit to anything being wrong in her marriage if things weren't really bad. Like if that video of the two of them fighting were not evident, she would completely deny still that there was anything wrong. It takes actual evidence for her. I mean, look at how long she denied that there was anything wrong with her and Joe. But I'm telling you guys, that Melissa makes a mockery out of Teresa without Teresa even knowing. The way that she interviewed the girls and asked the girls, so do you think your mom should just stick with housewives like forever? And the girls are like, oh yeah, we think she should just do it forever. And she's like, you do? And the girls are like, oh yeah, why not? She's the queen. She's the queen of New Jersey. She's the queen of New Jersey. She should never step down. I mean, it's like, I mean, do they even know their mom, any other version of their mom other than, housewife Teresa and the Teresa that she's become because of, just being so defensive all the time? I honestly, I feel sorry for those. Louis has a new job. TMZ caught up with him and Teresa in downtown LA. And there was, well, firstly, Teresa did this whole, oh, I can't wait for you to see what's really going to happen this year. And all the liars are going to be found out. The liars, truthfully, that poor woman is so delusional. And I still do not understand to this day why someone hasn't actually told her. I mean, she needs a friend to tell her this, not someone that she views as that she already views as an enemy, like her sister-in-law that she's always been so jealous of. It is so sad. She needs someone to tell her. I mean, like Ariana says, you're in trouble, girl, because that poor woman is just, she truthfully is her own worst enemy. I think maybe Dolores is the only person that can take Teresa aside and say, I mean, truthfully, I think Teresa needs to do like mushrooms or some type of mind-bending substance, obviously plant-based, because we only deal in plant-based things that come from the earth. But she needs something like that. She needs something to reframe that construct through which she sees everything. And it's so sad. It is so sad, God, and the way those girls have been programmed as just mini Teresas. I don't know. I do not know, but it is not good. So yeah, so Louis has this new job. And after Teresa gave her big spiel to TMZ, oh, I can't wait for the liars to be found out. Louis then turned and said, hey, check this out. And the TMZ guy went over there, and Louis said, this is, the whole thing is branded with his new company, which Louis states is something like TikTok, but only bigger, and gonna take over TikTok and be the biggest thing there ever was. And, I don't know what Louis' title is within the company, but that's what Louis is saying now. He said, this is my new job. But then I also saw that the company, like, does not follow him, or he doesn't have a handle at the company. Like, it was implying that the company has already let Mr. Louis go. So, anyway, that's that. Then we have Mr. John Jansen, you guys, suing Shannon Bedore. Have you heard about this? Suing Shannon for $75,000, 40 of which went to Shannon via a wire for a facelift in 2022. And then apparently in 2023, he wrote her a personal check for another 35,000, and he is now coming after her for that money. Shannon at first claimed that this money was a gift, but then John's attorneys came forward and said that they had texts and emails that prove otherwise, and that this was absolutely not a gift. And then our darling Shannon goes on to say, well, I was going to pay John, but I wanted to negotiate with him first. I needed him to agree to something. So the agreement that Shannon was after was basically a gag order, because Shannon knows that John's going to be on this season with Little Miss Jesus Jugs Bellino, and she doesn't want him to be able to spill her secrets. So she is trying to get John to sign this paper and saying, if you sign it, then I'll pay you back your $75,000, because we all know that Shannon loves to control the narrative, right? Which is such a testament. The most unhealed people in the world are the ones that are constantly trying to control the narrative. And I mean, anyone with two eyes can see that with Shannon. I mean, the poor thing, you feel sorry for her. She is just on that hamster wheel, she is just paralyzed by public perception. She doesn't really know who she is. She only knows who she thinks she's supposed to be, who she thinks, the world wants to see, and she's just constantly performing. She's not rooted in her own truth. Shannon doesn't even know what the fuck her own real truth really is. She is just desperate to stay relevant, because that's where she finds her validity and her value, and that's how she defines herself. Like, outside of this, I don't know where, if that would be enough for her. And I mean, it's sad. Anyway, good luck, girl. It's gonna be a wild ride, you guys. OC is gonna be something. I am looking forward to it. Let's see. Oh, it's time to saddle up, put on your cowboy hat, shine your spurs, and then you can join little Miss Kyle and her dear friend Morgan Wade, maybe in Aspen, because Kyle, for her part, is ready to save a horse and ride a cowgirl. That is the comment that our dear Kyle left under Morgan Wade's latest Instagram post. And I have to say, I'm really here for the two of them whenever they're ready to come out. And I think that we are very rapidly approaching that point where they are going to say, yes, we are a couple. Here we are out, we are loud and proud. I mean, come on, save a horse, ride a cowgirl. And then Morgan responded with like laughing, hysterical face, and then dead. Like, I mean, those two are a couple. They have been a couple for a very long time. They were very much coupled up in my friend's store in downtown Los Angeles. And I was trying to express this to you guys for a very long time on the talk being the TikTok. But yeah, so I I know a lot of people that know a lot of people, and those people know them, and they were in their shop a long, long time ago when this all first started going down. They are very much a couple. I mean, KISSING, sitting in the tree, all of it, totally in love with each other. I mean, if you really have any questions about it, all you have to do is go back to the reunion and look at the faces of three people: Andy Cohen, Erica Jane, and her sister, Kathy Hilton, who sat there and just espoused the virtues of Kyle's new friends. I mean, she did nothing but talk about how wonderful Morgan was. And if you remember, you can go back and look at there was an Instagram story, and on the reunion, Kathy talked about the first time, and Kyle talked about the first time that Morgan met Kathy. And it was in Aspen, and there was videos of it, and Kathy was talking about how wonderful she was, and you could kind of you know that this is where they came together, and this is kind of where Kathy, as a big sister, is finally stepping up for her little sister, and maybe, maybe I wasn't here for you before, but I'm going to be here for you now. And that is why she went to the reunion and stood steadfastly by her sister, which I think is so beautiful and so wonderful. And I think that it is great that Kyle is feeling more comfortable, and even comfortable enough to leave a save a horse, ride a cowgirl. And I mean, let's face it, horses do need to be saved. Ariana, little Miss Ariana, has purchased, finally purchased a home, a beautiful modern in the Hollywood Hills. So she is exiting the valley, finally, just as Lala is entering the valley, because Lala has also purchased a new home in Sherman Oaks, the heart of the valley, actually, about 12 minutes away from me and right next to my very favorite Mexican food, Casa Vega. I mean, the best Mexican food. Not to sound like J-Lo, but if you know, you know, but it's true. And all right, you guys, well, what are we going to do next? We're going to do a reality check. We are going to Potomac, everybody. So this episode opens with Deborah, the woman who the ladies referred to as Sesame Street, showed up. She showed up to the G&A event, and G&A, if you don't know, stands for Giselle and Ashley, who have an activewear line that keeps your cooch nice and dry, which, let's face it. I mean, it all depends, right? Sometimes you want the cooch nice and dry, like when you're working out. We're talking sweat, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I'm just going to pull us right out of where that was heading. We're talking sweat. So keeps the sweat at a minimum, folks. G&A, Giselle and Ashley, sweatless streetwear, workout wear. So, but she showed up, little Miss Deborah, and caused all the chaos. She somehow ended up fighting with the new girl who everyone is referring to as Kiara. I don't want to get it wrong, so I'm just going to go with everybody else and say Kay. But poor Kay, I really liked her too. I think she is super cool. I liked how much she was a gamer. When she went on that trip, you guys, she was feeling like shit and she still soldiered through. You got to appreciate that. She wasn't being too precious. Um, anyway, she got bloody, you guys. Freaking Deborah bloodied her up. Whatever she threw at her, cut her, and there was just full blood dripping. And then after that night, Ashley apologized for having invited her. But after that night, things took a much more civilized turn when we went to Mia's Monarch magazine cover launch, and we got to see all the pretty pictures. But how funny was it? Did you see Charisse in her gorgeous gown show up in that boot that apparently she got because of the few nights before when all this melee went down? She got her poor toe crunched. Apparently she already had her toe had a pre-existing condition. So getting stepped on threw her in a boot again. So that sucked for her. But at this party, everybody is still clearly very shaken by what went on with that previous event. Everybody is talking about it. It's the first thing on everyone's lips. Everybody is like clearly rattled. And also at this event, Giselle is processing everything that's going on with her dad, who is super sick at this point. Let's see, what else? What am I forgetting here? Oh, well, Giselle did turn to the camera and gave a very heartfelt thanks for the support that she has received from the girls about what her dad is going through. And then the show does what the show does, because this was the season finale. And you know the way at the end of every episode, they do the catch-ups, right? So the updates. So we got the updates, and they were, Candace has been recording new music and plans to shop it to a major label. She is still focused on heating up her career before she takes her embryos off the ice. Wendy has released her talk show, The Dr. Wendy Show, on YouTube. She's hoping this new venture is the one that finally sticks. Robin has signed a lease for her first Glow 30 location and hopes to have the doors open in 2023. As for the world's opinion on her and Juan's marriage, the Dixons 100% don't care. Karen is renovating her Surrey house and hopes to have it open by 2025. She also treated herself to a few upgrades, some triple 20 cosmetic tweaks. Shocker. Giselle officially launched her GNA clothing line with Ashley. Sadly, her father Curtis passed away shortly after surgery, and we are so sorry about that. I feel like I am missing one. Am I? Am I missing? Oh, I am missing one, you guys, and now this is really going to screw me up. NECA's IUI procedure was unsuccessful. She and Ike will try IVF next, and they will up the romance for their next bathroom rendezvous. Oh, good to know. Here goes my eyes again. Hold on, it's glasses time. Ashley is actively dating, but she and Michael are still not divorced. Her deadline to sign on the dotted line by the end of the year has come and gone. Indeed, it has. And then there's Mia, who we then find out is finally ending her marriage to Gordon. Oops, sorry, let's try to not catch you guys in that. And then they cut to 3 months later. And we can see that things have gone super sideways between her and Gordon. Gordon apparently started calling all of the other guys and talking shit about Mia and just disclosing all of their dirty laundry, which was a lot. He was apparently furious because when the girls were on a trip, Mia said something to Ashley about being with her husband for money, and then Ashley said, "Aren't you with Gordon for money?" And Mia said, "Or weren't you with Gordon for money?" And Mia said, "Maybe." And so Gordon was pissed about that. So he's basically just retaliating against his own wife, which is fucking never good. He goes on to say to her in front of the camera and everything in their kitchen, I know that you've been having an affair for 10 years. Um, he starts talking about the fact that his prostate cancer caused his organs to stop working, and he was fine with her having some male companionship, but only to a certain point, and that he was not okay with her throwing it in his face or bringing it around the kids, which is totally understandable, right? And then he goes on to say that he thinks that Mia's son, Jeremiah, maybe isn't even his. So, I mean, this shit is messy, you guys. It is like, truthfully, I'm not even sure how it can get much, truthfully, how it can get much messier. I really don't know. Okay, let me just make sure that I have my notes in a row. I just need to really make sure that we are done with Potomac. Yeah, that's it. So we are done with Potomac. I mean, basically with those notes, but basically those two are donezo. He does, however, show up with her at the reunion, we know. And and apparently they're all in a good place now. She is with the boyfriend, but still on good terms with Gordon. So hopefully all's well that ends well. We wish them peace and whatever works for them. And, you know, life ain't easy, guys. And it's not always as simple as some people want to make it sound. Let's head on over to Vanderpump Rules. The show opens with James acting as Allie's stylist. I mean, he wanted to put her in that Barbie thing. I'm so sick of that Barbie look, quite frankly. I'm just so over it. Then they're talking about James's Club Ziggy appearance and how everything's going to go down. She talks about the fact that she did invite Joe. And you have to appreciate that about her. I think that she is proving to be so level-headed and just balanced about everything, and you have to appreciate that. In that landscape of hotheads, that's exactly what they need. Then we cut to Tom's room where he was putting his sheets on, talking to Billy about the fact that 2 months ago, him and his attorneys drafted a letter to Ariana that was for top market value on the house. So he's drafting this, basically saying, hey, Ariana, I want to buy the house from you at top market value. I know on Twitter, they've been saying all kinds of things like, oh, she's not just supposed to take the first offer. Well, she is if it's top offer, right? And everybody knows the market is very hot where they live. Everybody knows what that house goes for. The comps are very evident. This is not, does not take brain surgery to figure out. It's pretty simple. So he says that they made her this offer, to start the process 2 months ago, and that he still hasn't heard a word from her. So, I mean, strange. Then and he also said, yeah, that would allow her to walk away free and clear. And I mean, what else does she want? It sounds like a win-win to me. Then Ariana calls Anne, Tom's assistant, who was on her way to a Taylor Swift concert. So I remember exactly when this happened because I went to that same Swift concert. But Ariana called her. It was so weird, basically just to ask if she could go downstairs in peace, like just checking in. Is Tom downstairs, or do I need to stay upstairs, or like, so weird. I mean, you need to know you can't walk down there or just walk past him. Give me a break. You sleep for 8 hours under the same roof at night. I'm pretty sure you can walk past him in the hallway. For God's sake. Then Lala and Schwartz meet up at at Creation, which is actually one of my favorite places. And it's there that Schwartz admits that he once kissed Sheena in Vegas, like 100 years ago, or not 100, but something close, you guys. Yeah, he admits to her that he once kissed Sheena back when he was the makeout slut or whatever he called himself. And he was just doing it in an effort to just kind of prove that none of them are perfect and they've all done fucked up shit. And, people are capable of getting past shit. And it's important. I mean, the universe moves forward because that's the way that we're supposed to be moving. If when you're stuck, you start feeling sick, right? That's why people get bitter and miserable. You have to let stuff go in order to allow yourself forward momentum, or else you get stuck and stagnant. And with stagnation, illness happens, and that's just a fact. So that's that was Schwartzy's whole entire point in sharing that with Lala. And, it's like he said, it's like a moot point now. I mean, who cares? It was so long ago. I mean, he's been divorced from her for so long. I mean, he's three different people past who he was back then. I mean, none of us are the same person that we were 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 6 years ago, let alone 12 years ago. I mean, at all, not even close. So let's see. Oh, yeah. So Lala, though, is shocked by this news and visibly taken by it. She just can't believe it. And then she goes and instantly calls Katie over to her house to drop this bomb on her. And Katie, we all know Katie. Katie is not going to take this well, because Katie doesn't take anything well, right? Because, well, you just can't. When you're a professional victim, you can't take anything well, because that would just go against your grain. Yeah, I have a note here that says, why do people think that everything needs to be found out? I mean, can anyone explain that to me? Like, should I have come clean about, does everyone need to come clean about something that happened 12, 14, 16 years ago, if it has absolutely no bearing on your life now? Are we all not capable of, enough introspection where we can look at those things? What is bringing certain things that have no relevance to light gonna do for anybody? It doesn't, it just seems so seventh grade to me. Then we cut to Club Ziggy, where Sheena was off the fucking rails, you guys. Did you see her? I mean, she was a nutcase. And Sheena always wants everyone to be so sensitive to her. I mean, we all know how sensitive she was when the girls at SUR used to come at her. But did you see the way she came at Joe? I mean, that was nuts. All that shit with the hat and, you're a hairdresser. I'm gonna bully you. Why are you wearing that hair? Come on, show your braids. I mean, take that hat off. This is ridiculous. I mean, I was so disgusted and just taken by how mean girl Sheena was in that whole thing. It was disgusting. And quite frankly, I mean, I work in West Hollywood at the hottest salon in West Hollywood, or almost the world, quite frankly. So I'm surrounded by the best hairstylists in the world every day. And I can tell you that none of them have a problem with a hat, Sheena. So take that. And oh, Katie, Little Miss Miserable Maloney, says out loud about Joe, who has never been mean to any of them. And ever been, she's never been mean. They might not like her, but she's never been mean. But Katie has, we all know Katie has. And she says she's a rat girl. She's a rat girl. About this poor girl. She's feet away from her. And Katie oh, who is all about everyone acting just right, is calling her a rat girl. It's so horrible, especially because Joe does seem a bit on the spectrum, like maybe on the autism spectrum, which I've kind of always thought that Schwartzy is a little on the spectrum too. And I mean, so many of us are. So many of us are. Okay. So I am just so disgusted in seeing the way that they treated her, even her like plugging her ears. I mean, I just think it was all overload for her, just how mean girl they were all being. It was horrible. I think the way they treated her was terrible, and they all owe her an apology. Katie goes on to say she's a psychopath. When Allie was trying to just, you know, just say some nice neutral things about her, bitch Katie goes, she's a psychopath. Come on. And then Ariana says, before anyone feels sorry for Joe, just know that Joe is a full-blown mean girl bully who did not give a flying fuck about spending Thanksgiving with me in my home while knowing that our mutual friend was fucking my boyfriend in my house. Excuse me. So Ariana thinks that this girl who is fully head over heels in love with Schwartz, okay, goes to so she's now thinking she's going to her new boyfriend's best friend's house for Thanksgiving, and she's going to blow this up. She's going to be the one to bring your house down. And then what? Everybody knows that the messenger is the one that gets shot. She's not going to be more loyal to you, Ariana, than she is to Tom Schwartz. That's just never going to happen. And by default, Tom Sandoval, because he is the best friend of Tom Schwartz. This is just basic. And if this was flipped and this was a chick that was doing this, that would also be absolute girl code. She is falling in line with her boyfriend's boy code, because guy code or whatever the fuck you call it, because she's in love with the guy clearly. So that's what she's going to do. That's what she's going to do. That's what she's going to do. She's going to fall in line with his code. Then Tom puts his big boy pants, Sandoval puts his big boy pants on, walks up to Ariana to address this email about the selling of the house that I was telling you about, the top dollar offer. He goes over to her to talk about that letter, and then she just gives him such a performative cold shoulder. No, talk to my lawyer. I mean, it's just so fucking over the top. It's ridiculous. I mean, this was like I believe this was filmed about 4 months after it happened, and sorry, it would still be over the top if it was 4 weeks. Too much. Um, yeah, she won't even look at him. And then Crazy Katie, and I'll stand behind that. Crazy Katie takes Sheena aside and brings up the kiss. The kiss from over 10 years ago, you guys. And she's looking for an explanation. Of course she is. I mean, why? Who the fuck knows? Um, Katie thinks that Sheena should have told her about this kiss. Now, can you guys just take yourselves back a few years? Can you remember the relationship that they used to have? What an absolute raging mean bitch Katie used to be to Sheena. Sheena used to sit there and grovel for her acceptance. You think that Sheena is ever in a million fucking years going to say to Katie, back then, or even like, why now at this point when you're in a good place? I mean, why go and dredge up something that happened 100 freaking years ago? But back then, when Sheena's just dying to get on her good side, you think she's going to go and tell her your boyfriend tried to make out with me in Vegas? I mean, the expectations that these people have are so out of line. It's fucking nuts. Why Katie wants to rehash this thing and just keep miring herself in her own misery is just beside me, but it's not, because Katie loves to play that role. She has been playing it so long, she doesn't even fucking know how to play anything else, and it's truthfully pathetic to me. Um, Katie goes on to say to Sheena that, you know, I was a broken person back then. Why didn't you tell me? I mean, I was just I was broken and I was just so hurt and like saying that talent implying that that would have helped her. Clearly that would not have helped her. But also I want to make the point that no healed person, no person that has actually gone through a process of healing would ever, you guys, in a million years want to rehash this. That's not how it works. When you are healed, you realize that everything, once you get to that place, you realize that everything that happened for a reason. And it happened to get you to the point at which you are now. And that rehashing that is going to do you no good at all. So it's so funny. Katie can throw around, I was broken then, but clearly by her actions, nothing has changed. Okay. Let's see. Okay, then Lala, Schwartz, James, and Tom meet up for mocktails. And Tom, while they were there, asked Lala if she would like to join him the next day to do some breath work, kind of in an effort to build their friendship. Lala didn't end up joining the session, but she did show up to the house, and Tom was doing some very intense work, which he called a physical, what did he call it? He called it some type of an orgasm, an emotional orgasm, I think, maybe a psychological orgasm. Anyway, it reminded me, I felt like he was trying to describe the spiritual orgasm that I often talk about, which is the gift that keeps on giving. If you don't know, get familiar. Um, So anyway, they go out in the backyard and have a very mature conversation. And Lala is really showing her own growth. And I'm telling you, it is so good to see. Lala says, everyone deserves a chance to evolve. And there is nothing that I agree more with than that. Everyone deserves a chance to evolve. And when you hold people's worst, darkest days against them for forever, you do nothing but stunt that growth. And the work of that person who did the transgression is to realize that their worth is not dependent on what other people think of them. Like Tom, at some point, does have to get to the point where he stops. You're either going to accept me and forgive me and we're going to grow through this, or we're not, because I'm not going to arrest my development growing through this waiting for you to accept me. Because Tom's most important lesson is to accept himself, or he won't be able to grow through this. He'll stay stuck in it, and he'll be start mutating his own self because of the guilt and despair that he feels. So I mean, shame will mutate your spirit, and it is an absolute, shame is a death sentence. And so you have to be able to step out of that darkness and forgive others as you would forgive it's like that prayer. you know you have to forgive as you want to be forgiven. And it's in understanding that we all need to grow through things like that, not necessarily that, but we all fuck up, and we all do really shitty shit in the process of growing and learning. And that is kind of what I think Lala and Tom are both realizing now. And there's a point where Tom says, I realized that this all had to happen for me to get here. And he extends that to Lala and says, I'm sure you kind of see now that you kind of had to go through what you went through. And it's like the fact that I say all the time that I had to go through the drug addiction that I had to go through, and that I um, survived to become the person that I am today. I learned so much through that experience. But yet that was my darkest day and my greatest shame, I mean, it's not, I don't feel any shame about it. I look at my drug addiction as my greatest teacher. And truthfully, I know it's nuts, but I wouldn't trade it for the world because it grew me into the person I am today. It taught me so much about myself. It taught me about my place on this planet. And I thank God for it every day, you guys. And I know that flies in the face of conventional thinking and wisdom. But truthfully, it was my gift. Not one, not one that was fun, but one that I would walk again if I had to get to where I am today, because every day before that was was like hell, felt like purgatory. And then once I got past that, the awakening that came with that, breaking free of that and understanding that the person that I was so much bigger, than the constructs that I'd created for myself and the constructs that got me into the trouble with the drugs. Anyway, the before and after, yeah. So the point is some of your most beautiful days might start on the shittiest of roads, and you can't give up, and you can't let other people define your reality. And that's why I'm so happy to see Tom Sandoval not giving into it and staying true to his truth. And I think that's what happens when you really tether to your truth. It's like you find the magic, and all that other shit just kind of fades away. And it doesn't matter because you really realize and you have clarity now about what does matter. And that is staying tethered to your truth, even if other people don't like it. Um, okay. Then we head on over to something about her, the sandwich shop that we still haven't seen open, but I'm hoping that we do. I really am. But apparently they're not open for a bunch of reasons. Yeah, but here's what I'm thinking, and you guys let me know what you think. I'm thinking that they really need to figure it out soon, that place. I'm worried about Katie because what is Katie going to do? Like, if Vanderpump gets canceled next season, I mean, even if there's only 2 seasons left, what does Katie do after that? Like, she's not invested in Tom Tom. I don't know what she has going for her. I really don't. Like, she really needs this sandwich shop. So I'm hoping that they can get off the ground. And I know Ariana is balling right now and doing things, but in this business, you guys, you can be hitting hard 1 minute and then everything can just dry up, and you can be back living at at your old apartment building before you know it. And that's just a fact. Then the girls take their stale sandwiches over to, I don't know if they were at Tom Tom or if they were at Sir, but the girls took some stale sandwiches over for Ken and Lisa to try. And then Schwartz came up to the table, and Ariana and Katie just started roasting him. I mean, just fully fucking roasting him. And then they sat there and told Lisa and Ken that about the 10-year-old kiss with Sheena, burned him off on that, and just really tried to make a mockery of him like they always do. And he was just like, come on, guys. Like, why, why? And Ariana and can't take the heat. Is it getting too tough? I mean, like, it's so old already. It's just honestly, it's so gross to me. Oh, and then Katie made a comment about how he really fucked up. He really fucked up, but don't worry about it. Now you've got Sloppy Joe. I mean, can we talk about this? Sloppy Joe? I mean, can we cancel Katie? I'm not big on the cancel shit. And in fact, I feel like taking that back because I don't think anyone should ever be canceled, because I know that everyone can grow through their shit. But Katie needs Kate. Somebody needs to let Katie know. I mean, Katie needs something. Katie needs a talking to. Someone needs to, hey, Katie, listen. No, I'm not going to do it. Someone closer to her. I'm not going to waste my time on Katie. Um, let's see. Where are we? Oh, yeah, after the sloppy Joe. Okay, so it's not long after the sloppy Joe gets dropped that Brock walks over. Oh, now my Taylor's calling me. I have to answer this, you guys. Hi, honey. Hi, sweet pea. I'm recording the pod right now, so you might be recorded. That's okay. Are you on your way home? Yeah, you're gonna spill the beans that are already spilled that Carly's here. Yes, they're spilled. I know. I figured you guys figured there was value in the anticipation. Me too, boo. All right, hun. I love you, babe. Okay, talk to you later. That was Taylor. Okay. Hold on. Let's click out of this. Here we go. Glasses on, ladies and gentlemen. Glasses on. So sick of these glasses. Um, okay, so let's get back to it. Brock then walks over because I got to tell you guys, I'm a huge fan of Brock. I think he is the hands down the best thing that's ever happened to Sheena. I think he is. I think he is. I know people think that he's just a meathead, but he's not. He's really not. He is a smart, insightful, intuitive guy who pays attention, which, let's face it, not everyone does. Um, but he goes over and he drops the bomb on Schwartzy that Little Miss Miserable Katie Maloney spent the night with Schwartzy's best friend, Max Boyens, you guys. Katie slept with Max. And you're going to tell me that she's not a vindictive, two-faced, rhymes with witch? And then, hello, what? His best friend? Everybody knows, like everybody's like, what? You should be Lala, what? Lala goes, that is his best friend, like best friend. Hello? I mean, what about the hypocrisy? Who is she? That is what I mean about this girl. She holds everyone to some egregious standard, but she can act like an absolute devil incarnate, and that's okay. His best friend, disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And then and then Sheena finds out that Brock told Schwartz this because Schwartz is clearly rattled by it. He's like, no, no, yeah, no. Sheena checked the location. Yeah, he was at her house. Oop, Sheena checked the location a second time. Still at her house. No, no, yes. But then Sheena finds out that Brock told that burn them off, and now she's terrified that Katie's going to be pissed at her, right? And that's what I mean. It's like everyone, don't be afraid of me. Don't be afraid of me. Like no one wants to tell the truth because they're so afraid everyone's going to be mad at them for, spilling their dirty secrets. Katie. Oh my God. She to me, honestly, you guys, is just the worst. I mean, and such a freaking hypocrite. It's just disgusting. Woo! All right. Okay, now let's head over to the valley. Okay, that beautiful beauty queen, Mia. still upset about Jax pulling her man's pants down. She literally, at one point in this episode, started to cry again. I am so fucking perplexed about why a woman is crying because her husband got pants. She keeps saying it's so frustrating. That's the word she uses over and over again. And quite frankly, I could watch her say frustrating a million times. She is that beautiful. She is really so incredibly gorgeous. Um, that I mean, I could watch her read the telephone book. She's just so pretty. But I do not understand why she wants to cry because her husband got pantsed. And I don't understand exactly what part of it is so frustrating. I mean, it happened. It happened before you even knew it happened. I mean, I tell you, I said this last week. I'm going to have to say it again. I am completely convinced this guy must have the teeniest little pinky weenie, because why else? Like, why else would you get so pissed? I don't know. Seems totally nuts to me. Um, I mean, it's yeah, wild. I mean, personally, I'd be laughing. I definitely laugh. I have to admit, I'd laugh. I definitely would not be crying. Then Jax and Kristen meet up. Well, the show actually opens with Jax and Kristen meeting up for lunch. And those two had the kind of meeting or lunch meeting that I would exactly the kind of lunch that I would expect them to have. They banter like two old friends would. They are that comfortable with each other. It's very clear. Um, and then Kristen goes on and tells him about the fact that Jesse grabbed her nipple. And Jax, who back in the day probably would have been a nipple grabber himself, knew that that was fucked up. And it was, I mean, totally fucked up. I mean, there is a big difference, sorry, between grabbing a guy's nipple and a lady's nipple. Big difference. You just don't touch a lady's nipple like that. Sorry. But this is Jesse we're talking about. The same guy who thinks that screaming at his kid is an effective way for him to get their attention. I mean, pathetic. Then Chris and Luke go on a hike. And I haven't made my mind up about this Luke guy yet. He might be all right. Jury's out in my book. But they go on a hike. She fills him in on the titty twisting, debacle. And his face instantly goes crazy. He goes like, he goes, I am man. This is not okay. So yeah, he was fully pissed about the titty twist. And he made it clear that he is going to have a talk with this guy. They also talk about the fact that when they're on this hike, they also talk about the fact that, they don't give a fuck about what everybody else's opinion is of their desire to start a family together. Kristen says she doesn't give a shit, and I believe it. And then the boys go and play hockey. And that's where Jax brings up the titty twisting to Jesse, the one who did it. And Jesse plays dumb and says that he doesn't remember it, doesn't sound like something that he would do, but he's not saying it didn't happen. I mean, can we talk Mr. Gray Area? I mean, enough. He is a sketchy little fucker. It is clear to see. He didn't remember it. And then Jax brings up to the guys his plans to hold on. Oh, he brings up his plans to bring Luke and Kristen's ex together at boys' night out. And none of them think that this is a good idea. Everybody tells Jax that he's totally off his ass. Jesse, who has known him the longest, says this is exactly up Jax's, aisle, which clearly we all know that this is par for the course for Jax. This is absolutely something that he would do. And then the guys then, oh wait, first the ladies meet up at a baby store to pick out stuff for Jana, who is pregnant and pretty hilarious. I think she's hilarious. This is where, and I'm not bringing this up to talk shit, but I'm really just, I don't know if it was, I don't know, something's happening. I feel like with Britney's mouth, like I feel like it's like a marionette, like something's pulling her lips down. I'm not sure. It's something strange is happening. I hope she's okay. Like maybe, I don't know if something happened with that. She said she had an operation here in the first episode, to remove this. And I hope they didn't like fuck with her because her mouth is turning down. And I like Britney so much. I don't want her to have to be contending with health issues because of some cosmetic surgery gone wrong. Poor thing. Anyway, then the guys head to guys' night at Two Bit Circus, which is basically like Chuck E. Cheese for big kids. Um, the first two people there are Jax and Luke, Kristen's dude. And did you see? It was so awkward. The whole thing was so awkward. They sat down and it was painful. Literally, how was your week? It was okay. How was your week? Then Jesse walked in, and then Luke really started steaming. You could see his whole face started just going cherry red. And he's even saying to the guys when Jesse walked over to the bar to get a drink, I got to talk to him about it. I'm just boiling inside. And it was clear because dude looked like he was going to start boo like a freaking teapot. So he goes over and approaches Jesse at the bar and, says, hey, you grabbed my girl's boob and all this, and that's inappropriate and blah, blah, blah. And Jesse does the same kind of song and dance that he did with Jax. But then Luke presses him for an apology and he gives him one and then agrees that, of course, he'll apologize to Kristen if that's what went down. That's not an if, that's exactly what went down, Luke says. Then Jesse, hold on, where am I? Oh, sorry. Oh, back to the girls. Then the girls are getting their kiki on when Jax it has a pause. Meanwhile, the girls are all gathering over at their girls' night, and it is there that then Jax takes Luke aside to tell him that Alex is coming, that he has invited Alex, and and Luke is pissed. Why would I want to be with that guy? And then, just basically bad mouthing Alex about the things that, Kristen has told him. Meanwhile, Jax is like, no, he's a really nice guy. I think you guys would really like each other. He's really easygoing and blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, then we cut back to the women at their girls' night having their kiki. And suddenly Brittany tells Kristen that, oh, Kristen, I think Alex is on his way to the guys' night. And Kristen is like, what? Um, and she's pissed. What are you talking about, Brittany? And Brittany's like, well, Jax is friends with him. And Jax isn't friends with him. Yeah, they've been friends for a long time. And then you cut back to the two-bit circus where now the other guys are consoling Luke. Meanwhile, Alex has walked in, the ex. He and Jax walk away, and there's Alex, Mr. Wonderful Alex. And I will tell you that I have met Alex. I spent a lovely evening with him and Kristen, actually. Kristen is a peach. I have met her on numerous occasions. I love Kristen. She is friends with my daughter. And I have met Alex, and he is an absolute doll. And he proved in this episode what a love he is. I mean, he is a smart, caring, sweet individual. And the fact of the matter is not, you don't always have to have a villain. You know what I mean? There doesn't always have to be a bad guy in a relationship. It could just be that it was what it was when it was, and now it's over, and we can wish each other well, and we don't, it doesn't need to be all, she or he is the devil person. It doesn't have to be like that. And I mean, I think Kristen in her heart of hearts knows that Alex is a good person. She just, you know, she just doesn't want to say that. Anyway, okay, everybody, that about does it for this episode of Generally Speaking. If you wouldn't mind leaving us a 5-star rating, we would love that. It really helps. Feel free to leave a comment. If you'd like to join us over on Patreon for our weekly reality check, we're about to start in April. Be sure you get over there and do that because it's going to be a whole lot of fun. I will leave the link down below. If you want to follow me on social, you can find me on TikTok at This Is Generally Speaking. You can find me on Instagram at The Jennifer Snook. And if you want to ask me a question that you would like answered on the pod, feel free to send that to jennifer@jennifersnook.com. All right, everybody, I've had a great time with you today. I hope you have too. And until we are together again, make sure you stay rooted in love. All right, everybody, have a great one.